all food is actually renamed, generally speaking.
Do you think
do you think it was do you eat pig or do you eat pork?
I don't eat either. I don't eat pork, really.
You don't eat pork?
I'm not because I'm like a Muslim or something, but just because I don't
dig on swine.
Yeah, I don't dig on swine. I mean, I'll eat bacon. I like bacon, and I also like, like pork roll, Taylor ham.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. When I think of pork, I think of like pork, the other white meat, that very successful marketing campaign. Yeah. I have not eaten a piece of pork loin, and
I like a pork chop and a pork tenderloin. Yeah,
I haven't eaten pork chops since I was a kid. Pork chops must have been cheap back in the day because that's all we ate when I was growing up. My mom would make a pork chop, and she'd put it in a broiler, and she'd put a piece of like half a piece of American cheese, not even American cheese, a Kraft single, on top of it and shit. And that was the part of the pork chop that I really liked.
The
cheese part on top. And then I would like to eat that and leave the pork chop behind.
But they also call, I mean, if you eat cow, you eat beef. You don't eat cow.
Or steak.
Or all of the fucking different cuts of it. It's not like they go like butt muscle, shoulder muscle.
Well, they do say like rump.
They will say butt. They will say you can buy something called a pork butt.
Right.
And you can buy shoulder. I mean, you can even
buy. That was
my
nickname all through high school. Hey, pork butt. Like what?
Shut up.
You can buy that in a store.
Yeah. But they have like, have you ever had pork belly?
No.
Which is like, I'm pretty sure it's the thin layer of. I don't think bacon's made of pork belly.
Well, and all I know about pork belly is from Trading Places. They're talking about pork belly futures, and and when they were doing the breakdown for the Eddie Murphy character, Don Amici and Ralph Bellamy were doing the breakdown. They were like, this is bacon, as in pork bellies, and they were talking about orange futures, as in a glass of orange juice.
Yeah. Pork belly is more like a
everything
cut
I know I learned
from movies. And 90% of it from that movie. Pork belly is like a cut where it's like it's a thin muscle, but then there's a layer of fat attached to it.
So that sounds like bacon.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the bacon comes from.
I don't know. It doesn't usually look like that.
So if you're fat, well, then what part of the cow are we eating in as much as it has like white all through it? That's the fat.
That's the fat.
Like when you go to Morton's, and they present you with, if you've never been to a Morton's, go. It's good if you like steak. But they always do the presentation. They roll out a cart and they show you all the different cuts of meat you can have. But the selling point of one of them is always, and I forget which one it is, but they're always like, this has some nice marbleization. And they show you
usually ribeye has
fat
like
than anything else.
Usually ribeye is very marbly.
And why would anyone want to eat a fatty steak when you could get a filet mignon, which is very little fat?
Well, like I'll say, like I'm that person who's like I don't want the actual. I don't really eat filet mignon.
Why?
Because I like the fat. I don't even necessarily eat the fat, but when you cook it in the flavors of the fat will sort of go into the meat and give it more flavor to me.
So, really?
Yeah.
So the fat somehow seeps into the meat?
Yeah, well, when you're cooking it, the fat is just like will start to break down and start to, it'll start to, I mean, if you boil fat, it'll liquefy.
Mm.
So, like, and you can turn it into soap.
Get out of here.
Well, that's what, like, Fight Club's all about.
That's right.
They boil all the fat. Yes. Going back to everything you need to know is in the movie.
So if you were a cannibal, then you would want to eat me because I'm very fatty and I would be flavorful. Like, between eating me and your wife.
I hadn't thought about it.
Then you would probably prefer to eat my meat.
I feel like we're headed in a direction you just want me to say, like, yes, I would rather eat your meat.
No, but really, between the two, like you're.
But you still want predominantly meat.
No, I think I'm predominantly fat.
You would want.
I think I'm just a big ball of fat, skin, and a brain. That's it. I don't think there's any meat inside. No heart.
But
no soul.
No organs. Well, I don't necessarily want to eat. While I don't think that's what you are. You wouldn't be standing. There's probably some bones in there too.
There's a couple bones, but
the
I think
skeleton
they're long buried.
I mean, you wouldn't want to, like, people who are thin, you definitely want to eat. I mean, even your muscle.
You wouldn't want to eat thin people.
I assume that if you're going to eat, you would want to eat, people
Who's the thinnest person you think you know?
Who's the thinnest person that I think I know?
Oh, all right. I watched Weeds season 3 last night. Mary-Kate Olsen. You don't know her personally, but you know what she looks like.
Yeah. Like, most of the girls
she looks like, what's the house elf in fucking Harry Scotter? Dobby. She looks like fucking Dobby.
She looks just
like literally skin and bones.
That's what they need in Us magazine is like they need just like who's edible.
What fucked up characters do these famous people look like, and which one would you eat?
Yeah.
So a choice between me, you're Cannibal Scott, Cannibal Moj, and it's not a sin against nature. You were raised that way. Your father's like, the best meat is human meat. We graze on the humans.
Yeah.
And you're like, aren't we human? And he's like,
no.
It's
like we're
some
better.
Some animals are more equal than others. It's like Animal Farm. Choice between Mary-Kate Olsen,
yes,
and me, Kevin Smith, your friend. Well, who's not your friend in this world?
Yeah. I'm just picking out.
It's like Morton's. You go to Morton's. It's like Cannibal Morton's. You're there, and they bring out like instead of a little cart,
you're in a cage.
And there's me and Mary-Kate Olsen and a homeless guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, she's too thin. Like, it doesn't look like it'll be good. Because there's probably no fat that will like cook through and like enhance the flavor of the meat. The homeless guy, I could die.
Right.
Because who knows?
Right. What's in there?
Yeah.
But they're like, we'll clean it, sir.
But like, it's not about cleaning the outside.
And he's like, help, don't eat me.
I'm like, I was raised a cannibal.
You're like, look, ain't no problem. I ain't going to eat you because you're dirty.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm not that dirty.
It's like, you disgust me. I won't even eat you. I would feed you to my dog, maybe. Yeah, you would be.
I'd be top choice?
Yeah.
All right. Right on, man. Yeah, Mary-Kate Olsen, dude. I don't think that chick, she looks like a steakum. Like, if you were going to eat her, she just looks like a layer of steakum wrapped around a bone. You remember what steakum is, right?
Sort of, not really.
Really? You weren't raised on steakum like I was? That's a difference between us, I think. One of the many differences.
I was raised with, like, we had a garden and, like,
it was very shit.
Yeah.
Steakum is a beef food product.
Gotcha.
That's very thin. It comes like it has wax paper between the slices.
Oh, is it like
throw it in a pan?
Is it like a chicken McNugget sort of, where it's just like processed, like all the shit? And they kind of press it.
I think so. Yeah,
like
it's definitely pressed meat. And then you threw it on in a pan and fucking heated it up, and it's kind of like what they would make.
Is it like bologna kind of
Philly cheesesteak out of?
Gotcha.
But Philly cheesesteak places actually use
steak.
Yeah, steak. But your lower end Philly cheesesteak joint would be like, throw a steak on it. I don't even know if they make it anymore. I haven't seen a fucking steak in a grocery store in a while. And if I did, I would probably buy it and eat it because I just remember it being so good. I pour some salt on that motherfucker, eat it up. It's not even like let's say you got some roast beef like in a deli,
yeah,
and shaved it real thin and threw that in the pan. It wouldn't do the same thing that a steakum would.
No,
but a steakum was this weird leathery kind of mystery meat that.
Well, it's weird. Like, you never know when you get into some of those situations where you're like, it could be because there's organs and all kinds of shit in it.
Does it matter at that point if it's pressed?
I mean,
if
obviously,
you press something hard enough.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter that you eat. But I mean, it doesn't even necessarily bad that you eat an organ.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that, like, I think that our culture generally just finds that visually, and even the thought of it, so unappetizing that people don't. There's lots of, lots of countries eat everything,
right?
And there's people. I remember my dad worked at a slaughterhouse when he was a kid, and he was like,
"Did he really?"
Yeah, he grew up in like farm country. I think he cleaned up
in Canada.
No, this was down near Portland.
Which one was from Canada?
My dad's from Canada, but he was
Your mom is from the United States.
She's from Vancouver, Washington. My dad was born in Saskatchewan, but he moved when he was like 3.
He's a farmer. He
was. They were. He was. They were on like they were homesteaders.
So he worked at a slaughterhouse?
Yeah. I believe he cleaned up.
Oh. So he probably saw them killing a lot of cows.
Yeah.
And that was in the days before the air hammer.
Yeah.
Where you did it with a fucking hand hammer.
I think you did it. I think you did it with a knife.
You just put a knife into the cow's head, or do you just cut its throat?
You cut its throat and you bleed him.
And so he's flailing around probably. Like now they do the air hammer. I can't
remember if they restrain him.
Just takes him out.
Yeah, right, I don't know if they restrain them. Like not like with their hands. Like,
you hold that cow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Get a hold of him!
Get off of me!
But back then, my understanding is like people used everything. I mean, I'll say the blood, and maybe that was wrong, but like people would make. I mean, I'm pretty sure that head cheese is like it's like they boil the head of a.
I wish your father was here right now because I would have him kill that little fucking dog. Yapping dog. I'd be like, John.
And then we'd get some Norwegians to come in and be like, here's some organs. Well, that's what sweetbread.
John, kill that dachshund and use every part of it.
I'll restrain him.
I got it.